All right, we are live back again. This is your host, JP, aka the Demon, and we are Commala live. Not doing the dance though.
Drinking that rice wine.
Yeah, definitely rice wine. Okay, so we're here again. Your usual suspects, and well, let's just go round table. That'll be good.
Cool.
We'll go ahead and start with Captain Andras.
Yep, I'm the captain coming here from you. I'm with T and Jaffords, and we're busy plowing and tilling the son of a bitch field. Tia's over there enjoying some taters, and oh god, I just broke my ankle.
Alright, we got Ben the Hitman here to finish up the series.
Brett the director.
All right. You're not wearing spectacles, by the way, are you?
Oh no, not at all. Certainly not.
This guy.
Certainly not.
How about old Jeffers telling the story about how young Tian got his dad basically covered in clay when he picked a well. You guys remember that story?
Yeah.
And ever since then, old Grandpa Jaffers, who stood against the wolves originally with that badass young lady
Molly,
Molly, yeah, who was the true one to kill a wolf. Yeah,
With a plate, no less.
Yeah, with a plate.
I'm picturing
I just hear Daft Punk.
Daft Punk. I was picturing like a Kung Lao type Boogies type thing.
She was a badass, dude. Going down to pull the plate out of her severed hand to try to throw it one more time before she got she got lit on fire by one of those light sticks.
That's a hard death.
Lightsabers.
Yeah, one of those lightsabers.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's an interesting combination of Star Wars, Harry Potter, and Fantastic Four.
I do.
I'm super confused about all of this crossover now. Mm-hmm. I was under the original impression that because of, well, I mean, this is kind of touching on the end. Maybe we want to talk about it later.
Let's hear it.
So I was originally under the impression that because of like how you can cross over worlds, that there was just like culture bleed.
Yeah.
And that things from one world kind of crossed over to another. But now it almost seems like things from the other world are like literally dictating or dictating what happens in other worlds. Like someone can write a book and it actually brings it into existence in another world almost. Like Callahan's like, I never told anybody that. Nobody should know that.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's not like he heard the story and brought it back to our world.
The thing is,
Stephen King's a life stealer.
correct me if I'm wrong, but like writers and artists, they would have like dreams of other worlds and they'd write and depict that in their world. So saying Stephen King like had his vision of that, and then he wrote the story out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
like
that actually happened, and it's based off fiction, but it's actually based off his life.
Exactly. Right. Like the muse that they get, or whatever the flash of inspiration is actually like a view into another world.
Yeah.
And
todash.
But I was under the original kind of assumption that there were people maybe that crossed over between worlds and brought these things with them. But it seems like these people are maybe going todash or something.
I think it's a combination.
It could be. I feel like after this book, it's a total combination. Mm-hmm. There's obviously combination. There's things that are crossing worlds. There's also, it seems like there's worlds that may be on a different level of the tower that have more impact on other worlds as well. Almost like not all worlds are equal. Not all.
Yeah.
Can you also do me a favor and hand me book 1 of the Harry Potter?
Yeah. I wonder if like the proximity in the tower has any effect at all.
Yeah.
I could see
like
that.
hearing your neighbors through the wall. It's like, shut up down there. World 8. Trying to sleep up here.
If there's a hierarchy of worlds and like World 1 influences 2 and 2 and 3 and there's 1 and influences 5 but it doesn't go the other way.
Right.
That'd be interesting to dig into. They had that in.
I know. I wonder if he'll come out with like the Silmarillion for this world someday.
Wait till he dies and his son
will publish all of the notes.
So I was really curious because I read something that Stephen King used some text type from Harry Potter, especially when he is on the chapter where he describes the Sneetches, and then the Sneetches they find even are labeled
Sneetches. But
JKR,
like JKR,
right? Or something like that.
JKR and from Harry Potter.
There's a big, like a picture right there.
Yeah, I'll find that real quick.
But it said it was the chapter font.
Oh, there's good old Andy. Andy getting his eyes blown out.
So the actual text for the Sneetch on a small plate on the side of the device, Jake reads, Sneetch, Harry Potter model, serial number blah blah blah, HPJKR.
Yeah, Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, caution explosive.
J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that, but it was a welcome surprise.
Yeah.
I actually was surprised. I forget sometimes exactly how long ago Harry Potter started.
Yeah.
I did not think that there would be any crossover. I was
know,
surprised.
Well,
But
it's funny
Harry Potter
because
was,
that's
91?
how long. Oh,
Something
go
like
ahead. Go ahead, Hitman. Sorry.
When did Harry Potter
I was
start?
going to say Harry Potter was
It was in
91.
the 90s, and actually the thing
90s,
about the thing
but
about
like
this
91,
is
92.
the thing about this is you got to realize that he's been writing this since the 70s, but this book came out in the 90s.
Right.
97 probably.
Yeah, let's check.
Winner of the
I'm really
1997
curious now.
National Book Award, so possibly 97.
Check the publish,
first book?
the original publication date.
Yeah, I read this book in the early
1997.
2000s.
Yeah.
I read The Gunslinger in the early 2000s.
And this book came out 2003, folks. So,
Oh, wow.
Stephen King's been writing this for a long time.
Dude,
so we got-
this cover art makes it look like it came out in 1950.
I think that's kind of the point, though.
Yeah.
horrible-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because like the original book came out in the 70s.
I was about to-
I think that's why I was so
Say it
surprised,
now.
because you look at it and you're like, there's no way that's even in the realm of Harry Potter,
This
you know?
looks, like just glancing at it, like a zombie hand, but I think it's Roland's hand.
I think it is. Oh no, it can't be. Does he have all the fingers or?
I can't really see two of the fingers, so yeah.
No, it's
that
got to
might-
be
that
Roland's
might be
hand. He's
enough.
only got the two
Yeah.
in the thumb.
You see that picture in like movies, like a zombie movie or something, and like a hole, like that's a bad guy. But
Yeah.
really it's
It makes Roland's hand look like a werewolf hand, like it's a paw.
Yeah.
Like three fingers.
It's pretty cool.
I like that cover.
Although he's holding a gun on his right side, which Roland quit wearing the gun on his right side, which means it might be Eddie if you just can't see the fingers.
Yeah, it might just be the angle. I
Yeah.
don't know though. Cool.
Either way, just it's fun. And he's been writing these books for a long time. And remember, there was a big gap between the older books, right? There was like a huge gap, and then
late 70s.
Yeah. Well, the first book, The Gunslinger.
I don't know if they could see that or not.
Let's just check this before we digress to the story because it's kind of fun to look. But the first book, let's see here, published.
I think it's Roland. I think it's just this.
What's the original publication date? This is,
It definitely. I believe it's Roland because the way that it is, I think that's clearly a nub. It doesn't look like a fingertip.
And isn't Roland going through some early stages of like arthritis as well?
yeah. Well, so you guys see
I
that was
forgot
abrupt?
about that.
But
Yeah.
like more than arthritis.
Yeah.
It's even worse.
Do you guys feel that was
arthritis
abrupt, though?
apparently can get really bad in real life as well, but it seems like possibly arthritis almost always gets extremely bad there, because I know some people can suffer from it and it's just like painful joints,
Yeah.
but I think other people can suffer from it and it like literally just like crumples up your body.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Originally published in 1982, however, written earlier but put away because
For a long
it
time, yeah.
would have become too much like a Tolkien.
Right.
I thought so. He wrote the first one, in '82.
It was published in '82. He started writing it earlier, and then what happened is he put it away because he was afraid it would become too copycat.
Kind of makes it hard to continue getting upset with George R. R. Martin.
I know,
That's
right?
a long time to not have a conclusion to a story you're digging.
The difference is that he was pumping books out all the time.
Yeah. Well, so is George.
No.
Yeah.
He's pumping out little side stories all the time.
Yeah. HBO is kind of taking care of that for us.
Yeah.
They are taking care of that for us.
I mean, I'm not to get too much off topic, but I'm all completely fine. Jeff and I have discussed this. I'm completely fine giving George the time that he needs to make it as good as he feels like it needs to be.
Yeah.
But it would have been nice to have the books out first.
All right.
I just hope he had
Anyway.
the vision to finish it, and he's not just dragging it out because he has no idea what to do.
Yeah. I think it's probably
HBO is also solving that for us.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's jump back into this now. Let's go into this. So what happens, like a traditional Western, Roland brings everybody around. We find out there's less mystery to the wolves than we think. Mm-hmm. One of them, old Jaffers, tells them the secret.
I have to say, one thing that happened when they first kind of gathered around, I understand like where people are coming from. It's like, oh, you're coming here, you're putting your lives at risk, and they kind of like are asking questions and like weary of if you're even worthy of helping them.
Mm-hmm.
I understand they know that they're good people, but it frustrates me a little bit when I hear stories where like Eddie was almost like insulted that they were like, oh, we have to, or no, Roland was like almost insulted that they have to like prove themselves to them considering they're the ones helping them.
Yeah.
But like you have no idea who these people are, you know what I mean? Like I understand why they would be scared and why they would want some reassurance that like, oh, if we're gonna fight, if we're gonna put like our entire lives rather than just doing this deal with the devil and like letting them take our kids, if we're gonna put all of our lives at risk, I want to make sure that you're worthy of it.
Yeah.
And it frustrated me a little bit that they weren't more understanding of that.
Well, I think their perspective as gunslingers was like, what the hell are you doing? You're telling me you're going to let them take your kids? You've been letting them take your kids?
Well, I think if you feel like you can't defend yourself, it's like, well, do I let them take one of my kids or do they let them slaughter all of them?
But that's the point.
You know?
But the reality is that all along, it wasn't quite what they all thought it was.
Right.
But I think also that, one, it's not like gunslingers are common anymore. They're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
These
exactly.
people are
Everybody
claiming
thinks they're dead.
to be gunslingers.
Right.
And if there's some reassurance that they're actual gunslingers, I think they'll be more open to the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, it's hard to picture 4 people, even if you had 10 people helping them shoot them down, defeat
Like
60
60
plus
yeah.
coming down.
Yeah.
Yep. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
And so they want... I understand why they want it, but I think Roland... Like, he's done it before, and he understands, like, this is the dance they have to do every time.
And he
they come
did.
into
I
town.
think he did. Because they did this whole thing, right?
Or maybe it was Eddie that was kind of... I mean, I don't think they harped on it too much.
Right.
Well,
Well,
the fact that he was just like, oh, we got to prove ourselves to you. Like, we're helping you. It's like,
Yeah.
calm down, buddy.
Yeah.
But
Be
Roland
a little bit
seemed
more
to
compassionate.
know. Roland knew this dance a little bit. You know, he did this thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, how about his dance?
Oh, awesome.
The Commala.
Yeah.
He danced the Commala and then he stage dived.
Yeah, that's right. He totally did. Dude, I pictured some kind of like Western version of a river dance. Did you guys picture anything?
Yeah.
I was
particular
as
with
well.
that?
I hope they do this in the Amazon version of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
Can't wait.
awesome, yeah.
Yeah, that scene was awesome. It was really fun to see like Roland. I don't know. I always like when I see Roland being human. You know, it's like, and he's just sitting there drinking and well, I don't know if he was drinking, but he was just sitting there, kind of celebrating, doing the dance.
Yeah.
And it was cool. I like it.
Yeah. I think not only do we like it, but also his Ka-Tet likes seeing him do that stuff. Because then they're just like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always surprising, because he's... Who knows how old he is? Hundreds of years, thousands.
Yeah.
I think hundreds.
But he has so
be.
many skills that he's got over... he learned over the years, and the only ones they ever see is the survival skills, the gunslinger skills.
Yeah.
And then he dances or he sings, and it's like, what the?
Yeah. In his youth, he was a bit more fun.
He get the hotties in his youth.
Yeah.
It's also kind of interesting because sometimes people that dedicate their lives to something, which basically gunslingers dedicate their lives to, the ways of the gunslinger, to be able to handle their guns and stuff like that.
Almost.
Sometimes when somebody is so good at something, it really inhibits their ability to interact with people. Mm-hmm. They're lacking in other social skills, but it seems like Roland's a pimp. He's just everywhere he goes, someone wants to sleep with him. He's doing something to make people like, oh, you're a dope. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was neat. And speaking of people wanting to sleep with Roland, he does get some action with a super, super cool character named Rosalita, who is Father Callahan's maid. But she has ointment and stuff to help with Roland's arthritis. And in the end of the book, when it comes to taking down the wolves, Rosalita's on the front lines, taking down wolves left and right with her plates. And she's she's totally getting into it. And you're like, dude, she could totally be a gunslinger if she wanted to be.
Yeah, she definitely was a badass. And I like this whole Sisters of Ariza thing.
Yeah.
It's just some cool shit.
I just imagine during the celebration after the battle at the end, everybody just eating with food on the table because there's no plates left.
All these bits of blood on them. Well, oil on them.
Yeah.
Little do you know that all the plates in the Calla are 3/4 bladed. Sever your fingers at the touch, so you have to really carefully eat on them.
Yeah.
Just cutting their meat with another plate.
I thought it was a really, really cool idea, and I don't know what spurred it, if it was all King or he was inspired, but I really like this. It's a farm culture, masculine driven, yet you have this subculture of these women throwing these crazy weapons as a hobby, and then also going to help.
Yeah.
Help the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's just really cool, really creative, and kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So let's progress down the story then. So obviously we find out that the wolves are zombies.
I saw it all along.
Yeah, I mean robots.
I was gonna say,
the story that Roland told the crowd.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
the ruse.
And the old man didn't correct him.
Zombies.
Which was
controlled by
cool.
the vampires from Thunderclap.
Yeah, that's what Roland told the crowd. But the truth is that the old man found out they were robots. That's why he never trusted Andy.
Mm-hmm.
And then our good buddy Jake. There we go. Finds our good buddy Jake finds the Dogon.
Dogon.
Outside,
Dogon?
right?
He finds Ben Slightman the Elder and Andy having a secret palaver at this way station for North Central Positronics, which telecommunicates with the Thunderclap, the villains, the source of the Wolves of the Calla.
Yeah.
And finds out that there's some traitors in the midst of the Calla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, good old Ben Sr. By the way, who has a guinea pig who wrote a book in New York, or wrote a book that got to New York from another time. Mm-hmm. It's kind of interesting. That was the first hint, right? That Eddie found, at least. Jake was already on him, and apparently we find out Roland has been on him for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, since they saw his glasses.
Yeah, which we shouldn't really be that surprised, but I was surprised. I'm like, what the fuck, Roland? You know? And then I was like, wait a second. This is the guy who was traveling with Eddie and Susanna and knew every single,
he said that, and then I realized that's why he sent
Jake over there
to go
the whole time.
The whole time. Because see what you see, and if you know anything unusual, tell me.
Yeah.
Because he was a traitor.
Yep. It's really interesting. And Roland, as we know, he doesn't really have the touch, but he has a version of it with his instincts. Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
And his instincts were right on. Good. Except for his instincts, he talked about how they failed him with the Susanna, Mia, Ka-Tet situation, but that was difficult, and Ka did kind of work itself out. So
as somebody who is technologically disinclined, as you gentlemen know, it was kind of hilarious as a reader to see this repeated theme over and over and over again in the whole Dark Tower series, that you can't trust computers. Like, they're all evil in the Dark Tower series, and I felt that was kind of funny, and I think that maybe that could be a little bit of King peeking through his own characters and saying that he himself may be a little bit less than technologically disinclined.
That'd be really fun to check out. I will tell you that so far we've had really bad experiences with Blaine the Mono, Andy, the creepy son of a bitch, teasing, secretly psychotic asshole. Well, just the way that machines are used in this story.
I think it also kind of says to me that like these things are created. They're created for a purpose. They serve their purpose, and then when they have no purpose, it seems like they kind of become evil. You know, like the guardian bear seemed to like guard it properly for a long time or whatever, and then when it's like old and not needed anymore, it gets dangerous, you know. So I don't know, I feel like that might be part of it also. Not
what
just
about went through the keyhole and the kid's guidance device?
His little Siri device.
That was actually a good thing. Maybe Stephen King hates all technology, but he found out that he likes Siri
because that's when it was like new and still had a purpose.
But that computer killed itself to help the kid.
It did. And remember, it did the same thing that Andy was doing with Directive 19. Directive 19 can't tell you, but I'll kill myself to tell you. Whereas if Andy was like, ha ha ha,
die now.
19.
Dude, on the same line of logic, do you guys mind if we talk about Andy's destruction right now? I think this is a good segue.
Let's do it.
There is one, and I just want to read a quote because the part that I got the most chills from in this whole story is when Eddie ambushes Andy because he finds out that he's clearly a super murderous traitor robot who just cannot be trusted. And he shoots out Andy's eyes, and Andy kind of changes his tone a little bit. And I want to give a quick shout out to George Goodall, the voice actor for the audiobook as well, because I think he does an amazing part for this section where Eddie tells Andy to shut down. He's like, shut yourself down. Do you understand what I'm asking? And then Andy responds. It says, a small, horrified voice said, please don't make me, you bad man. Please don't make me. I'm like, dude, that is so creepy. Like, this son of a bitch robot is so sentient. This whole time, he's basically like a person pretending to be a robot. He, like, has built up so much contempt for these people. And in that moment right there, you're like, dude, this son of a bitch has been pretending the whole time. It was really, really kind of, like, eerie.
But the one thing that bothered me about this entire book was in this scene. Was that Eddie is like, oh, shut down. Wait, you have the password. You can, like, reprogram him. You get all this information from him. 2,000 years of stuff, or even if it's end up with a helpful robot servant, it's like, no, just shut down. I'm done.
I think that Eddie just hated that son of a bitch, but I agree.
Oh yeah, no doubt did, but
I mean, I think that's what humans do. They don't want to fix things. They want to punish it. You know, it's like I remember having this discussion with somebody at some point about, like, if after somebody murders someone, which is basically like being programmed. I mean, we're not going to get into the whole free will thing, but let's just say that, you know, there are life experiences that could turn you into a murderer. if you could give them a pill and make them not a murderer to the point where you know 100% that they are fixed and they don't have murderous desires anymore, would that be enough for people? And I don't think it would be. We still have those emotions of, no, he's a murderer. He needs to be punished. He needs to die, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like,
question.
I think for sure the murderer's victims would call for justice above all else. Yeah.
Even though those impulses are gone and you
his
could
personality,
change them, you know? Yeah.
Wasn't that justice?
What's that?
If that pill changes him,
but I don't think most humans would feel that way.
They need you need to whip him.
Yeah,
it's an interesting concept.
Yeah,
but, it's Eddie just offed him though.
He just,
and you're right. He could have
popped him in the eyes.
Yeah. He did that before he did anything with the password.
In the book, the thunderclap, and there's these breakers, and that's the whole point of the twins. Is food for the breakers.
Yep.
And I was guessing that Andy has all this information about that area, what to expect out there.
Mm-hmm. And Eddie just
he could have got all that information.
That's where they're going
next. Well, I'll tell you what,
Hitman,
I agree with you in the sense of I like being informed. So I'd have definitely milked it. I would have milked as much information out of there as I can.
Even if eventually you do still end up powering them down and killing them, at least get a pragmatic use out of him.
Yeah. But this Ka-Tet seems to be much more action-driven and letting Ka lead the way.
Yeah.
So that's because their din is rolling.
Ka's what they call the sound of their guns.
They do.
Ka, take care of it for me.
So it's pretty interesting.
Awesome.
So Eddie offs good old Andy finally after they all find out they hate him, which, by the way, that was creepy, especially when he was like
superhuman.
I won't let it, when Trader Senior Ben was talking to him, he was not handling that disrespect.
Yeah.
So and to be honest, in the beginning of the book and throughout the middle, until you really know that Andy's a scumbag, you realize like, holy shit, they are really assholes to Andy.
Yeah.
They like make him do all this work. He protects their kids, and they're like, "Scuttle, Andy, you dumb thing.
Yeah.
You dumb. Get out of my face, Andy." You know, it's just
that kind of makes me wonder if, like we were saying, like what we were saying before, like I wonder if like a lot of these robots are just reacting how a human would if they were treated improperly or had no purpose for such a long time.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, was he programmed or did he turn on them also?
I think
the wolves weren't always there. They said that.
By whoever figured out his password, but then his AI is so advanced that these people treat him like shit, so he takes pleasure
in it. Right, okay.
And he's just like, these people deserve this.
Yeah.
The garbage.
Yeah. I always, the parts that I found super weird were the parts where Eddie was like deconstructing the signs of how he knew he was enjoying certain things. Like, those blue lights mean that he's laughing inside. I was just like, oh, that's fucking weird.
The faster his blue eyes blinked, he thought that was like laughter and joy.
Yeah. Oh, man.
No, but
Jake also noticed that. Yeah.
Was able to touch
Andy
actually. Yeah. Even though he's not human. Mm-hmm. And the emotions he got was the blinking lights was laughter.
And Roland said, because Jake was like, oh, I wonder if I could, am I really touching a robot? And then Roland's like, if it could think, you could touch it.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like AI, you could think, you could touch it. So
it was scary. And then he was able to send that message to Eddie at the battle.
Yeah.
I still can't believe that happened, that those twins got fucked up and broke his leg and smashed his head on. Like, oh, you're gonna run and that's how it's gonna be now?
That's the moment in the horror movie where the girl is being chased by the killer and she falls and trips and like you hear a snap. It's like, oh god, come on. like every Jason movie ever.
Dude, so let's go from the death of Andy to Roland's plan, which is highly ninja-like and spy-like with his misconceptions of faking.
Telling everyone to go up to the mines.
And taking them into the rice fields.
Going into the fields.
And what do you guys think about Ben Sr. Basically coming clean to Roland before he kind of like came clean and asked if Roland was going to kill him, and are we still going to the mines? And Roland was like, no, and I don't know if I'll kill you, kind of thing.
Yeah, he said it depends on how you answer these two questions.
Can you talk about that, Captain?
Yeah.
What was
the first question was if you had discovered that Jake was spying on you at the Doma, would you have killed him?
That was the second question.
That was was that, Ben?
That was the second question.
Oh, what was the first one?
The second. What was the first one?
I thought that was the first one.
What did you think the other one was? Maybe the order doesn't necessarily matter, but...
Yeah, the other one, the second one, I don't know.
Second or first one was...
The other question was... We can't remember.
That's the one I remember.
Yeah.
Which one is that?
No, that's the one I remember.
Yeah, I remember that being the second question.
Okay.
And the way he answered it, because there was a long pause.
Yeah.
And it's like... We would have killed him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was the answer where Roland was going to shoot him and kill him.
Same here.
But it was the answer that he wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Right? Because he knew he would have.
Yeah.
Well,
he assumed he would have.
I think in Roland's mind, he maybe felt like there was... I don't know, because he really didn't... He doesn't treat him well afterwards either, but maybe he was like thinking, well, at least that shows a little bit of remorse. Like if he's... coming clean about this, obviously
he was truly clean about it.
Obviously, it was bothering him.
Yeah,
in some way. And it is an interesting question. It's like, I mean, I don't think it's the right choice, but I can't even imagine what it's like to be a father. Like you would do anything to protect your kid. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's the right way to go about it. I'm not defending him, but like. You're almost immoral no matter what you choose.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't do everything to protect your kid, you're kind of a dick. But if you sacrifice other people's kids to protect your kid, you're also a dick.
Yeah. Unfortunately for him, that didn't work out.
No, it did not.
I did not expect his son dying in that scene when they're fighting. And I was like, wow. And it wasn't anything special. It's just... the wife's head from the landowners like rolled next to him, and he ran out, and he just died.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't have run out, but yeah.
Like if we held it together, it would have been fine.
Yeah. It
would have lived.
That's a bummer. Maybe that was Ka teaching what's his name a lesson.
That sucks for little Ben.
That's
for Jake.
Yeah, that's a pretty harsh lesson.
Well, there are other worlds than these.
Yeah, that's true.
As Jake would say.
Yeah. Jake, who's died twice now.
Yeah. Yep. Dude, I want to give a quick shout out to Jake for losing like probably his only childhood friend right there, because it sounded like he didn't have any friends back in the real world either.
Yeah.
So when that kid died, Roland gave him his first cigarette. And and Jake like rolled it up and smoked it, and he was kind of maintaining control. But then when Ben Slikman Sr. came back and he was like, "What the fuck happened? Like you lied to me, Roland." Then Jake went up and he's like, "No, I had the chance to save him, but I failed." So I mean, Jake really took it like, he manned up in that moment right there, man.
Do you guys feel like it's gonna have some lingering repercussions later on?
Good question.
I could see it making Jake like harder and less caring, like trying to distance himself from people because he doesn't want to go through it again.
I was worried about possibly it causing him to maybe lose his edge in a moment where it's really needed at some point because he's afraid he's going to fail again.
That's possible. I didn't get that vibe from that scene, but that's certainly possible.
Yeah.
I feel like it retightened them a little bit. Like Roland, he's really, in a way, like for example, when Ben was talking to Roland, even though Roland knew Ben Sr. was total bullshit, or two are really getting together. Roland talks about Jake like a father, and in this book, he really starts thinking of him like a kid. Mm-hmm. I think like his kid in a way.
Yeah.
And I think this was, he came up in a tough spot with a tough father, and so I think that he's kind of seeing this as Jake might be even younger gunslinger than Roland was at 13 or 14 or whatever it was. Roland passed the test. I think Jake at this point's like what? We don't know, 12?
Yeah,
maybe 12,
13, maybe.
Is he 13 by now? I think he's probably a little younger even. But it's curious for sure. So the Wolves, aka Dr. Doom,
that whole
with lightsabers.
That whole battle went
to robots.
That whole battle went way better and cleaner than I thought it would overall. I was expecting it to be a lot worse and bloodier for Calla Sturgis than it actually was. But even
it's quicker.
Great plan.
It was also quicker than I was expecting.
Yeah, it was.
Although Roland always said it would all come down to
5
go
minutes.
ahead, Captain. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Even as unrealistic as it is, I wanted Father Callahan to be in there throwing cleavers or something.
It's too bad that he didn't become a bit of a warrior priest.
Yeah.
He really did after he murdered vampires and left God by force because of the vampire blood, it took that failure to him, but he really did take it back when he came in priesthood again. He really stayed out of violence. As hard as a man as he seemed he could be, he's no gunslinger.
Yeah.
But this scene, I understand it, but this is my second pet peeve in the book. That this whole book led up to this one point, and it was over in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I understand Roland did say,
he said it the whole book, actually. He's like, it always comes down to blood and chaos in 5 minutes.
It always comes down to 5 minutes of battle, and that's it. But as a book, I'm taking this as a book, it seems there's so much unnecessary stuff as a 700-page book. Could have been like 400 pages to get the same point across. And it's carried on throughout the story.
Yeah, I do, but at the same time, I love that whole kind of like weight game, like Old West. And then it all comes down to just a 5-minute shootout. Yeah. And they knew it. They had the right plan. That's all it was. It was like, we had the right plan, gave us an end, and then 5 minutes later, it was done.
Like that.
But you're right. It was a lot of build-up all to this moment, just building and building and building. And we're winning the people and we're winning the town. But at the same time, we got a lot of character
to the film put there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff we're learning. And
one thing that can kind of explain that, Ben, because you bring up a good point, but one thing that can explain that, this goes back to something that you said on the last episode, Demon. Didn't you say that when Stephen King was writing this section of the story, he actually wrote Wolves of the Calla and Song of Susanna all at the same time and then later split them into 2 books?
Well, I don't know that exactly, but if you had me Song of Susanna director right behind you, these 2 books came out in the same year. 6 months apart.
Okay.
I can say that for sure.
My understanding is that he just never stopped writing.
Yeah.
He literally just put a cork in it, published it, and kept writing.
Yeah.
Is my understanding. Let me just check that it wasn't this one in The Dark Tower, but no. 2004, end of 2003.
Wow. But
2004.
But I felt like we're building up to this, and then the climax, which made sense because one was like, "Oh, battles they seem to last forever, but it's only a few minutes." But in the book version, it's just like over. And
so here's the thing, though. I think what the captain's getting at is that the reality is that the book ended at the climax when good old Mia takes 13 across to New York, and our guys are like, "Holy fuck!"
Yeah. Out of
because
nowhere.
I think that what we're gonna read next is the true climax to this. That's what I think may be the case.
Yeah, and it's
that may have all just still been build up to this.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been talking about it the whole time, and
I got
all
a
they've been
little
doing
bit of I got a little bit of a Lord of the Rings vibe from it. Remember, like when I think close to the end of the first book or at the end of the first book when they like split off and Frodo and Sam go off.
Yeah.
And then they're like chasing after Merry and Pippin.
Yep.
Like that's how I feel like this is Aragorn chasing after Merry and Pippin. They're just like, oh man, we've got to go save our friends.
Yep. It's crazy though because you think about it, they've been hinting at it the whole time. They're like, this Mia shit's gonna fucking suck.
Yeah.
What if it happens then? What if it happens here? And of course,
it happens during the battle, and then Susanna's like, "Don't do it now. I mean, if I
basically just gave in,
and it's like, after I'll help you out."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she just like gave up, and then they ran away after the battle.
Now,
it was a
has
deal.
anything said exactly what that entails? Helping her out, like giving birth to this demon baby, is that going to kill her?
Well, I think helping her out meant like she won't fuck up the battle. She'll stay out of her way and let her do her part.
No, Susanna said to Mia that she would help her out.
Yeah.
Like, just don't mess up the battle.
I'm
Let me do
assuming-
I think
this.
help out's give in.
Yeah,
Well,
and I'll
help
give
her
in.
Assuming like help out is I won't hinder you in giving this baby,
Right.
or sneaking off into.
But what exactly
another world.
are the consequences of that? Like, why is it? I think I might have missed exactly what such. I mean, obviously, you don't want more demons in the world, but what are like the huge downsides of her giving birth to this demon baby?
We don't
They
know.
do-
Well,
one.
I don't
They
think we
do
know.
mention multiple times that the birth will kill her. That the baby will
It will
tear,
kill her.
will tear
Oh,
her
could. It
apart and
could.
eat her.
Okay.
They said that, and they said that the baby would eat her, not drink her milk, but it's
Like,
Yeah.
it could be.
Also,
that.
in a more like now, like what the downside now is they lost 13, and the way through the doorway
Right.
It's gone. Yeah,
like,
because that's how they were opening the door.
Yeah.
Right.
But Rowan says there's another way, but we don't really know what it is at this
Right.
time.
So, but I think the thing is that they don't know. They
Right.
don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
and that was Father Callahan's point. Demon or not, you don't know. And that's bullshit in my opinion. If it's a demon, fucking kill it. But except for if it's you or me. If you're that let me live, motherfucker. Let me live.
Kill Jeff, guys.
So
he
Jeff
said it himself.
says he
I
wants
have it on tape.
Jeff,
I said except for me.
we'll kill him after the show.
I mean, when
Next
I play
episode-
this tape in court,
next
that part's
episode-
gonna be cut off. You're just gonna be like,
It's
kill
like-
demons.
And we're
gonna
live. Welcome back. The demon died because, well, he needed to die.
Well, you wanted to die. You told me to kill
Yeah,
him.
you told me. I
No,
got it.
I said
uploaded
except
it.
for me. You
And
know,
that part is
gotta
gonna be
die.
magnificently deleted.
but I'm willing to bet that we are now in what is going to be continuous craziness.
Yeah.
From the end of this book, I believe that the Song of if I remember anything correctly, this is like
I was thinking the same thing, and I've never read these before, and I was thinking the same thing. I was like, you know what Stephen King is probably going to do is he's going to make like an entire 700-page book of just like explaining characters and backstory and some exposition, and I was expecting a little bit more of a climax. But then I was like, after that book was done, and I'm like, oh, that wasn't much of a climax. I'm like, that thin-ass book is probably just going to be insane. Because, like, it's like a third of the size. And I remember looking at it on the bookshelf, and I'm like, I bet this is just, like, him being like, oh, don't judge a book by its thickness.
dude, what it really is it's like the last Brandon Sanderson chapters.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh fuck, that's.
I will say though that like as strange as as quick as the climax did feel, it felt climactic to me. Like I was satisfied, and it was still like one of my favorite ones in the series so far.
I love this book
Somehow.
I don't know why the feel of it
was really
just
good.
awesome. It's
It's
like
really cool.
It's just like this weird character development feel that I really liked.
I liked it, but it hasn't replaced my favorite, Wizard and Glass.
It's a hard. That's
And
I remember the first time I read through
a
that was my
step down
favorite.
below that. It's It's not as good.
Yeah.
I think also I'm connecting to it because of its influences, because I love Seven Samurai so much, because I love Magnificent Seven so much.
It really feels that way. It feels just like this. Dude, Ben, the first time I read this series, Wizard and Glass, was, I think, one of my favorite. I think it might have been my favorite, minus the final, the Dark Tower. And
up to this point, right now, Wizard and Glass is winning for me.
But this read through, man, did I love this one. I loved Wizard and Glass again, but I loved Wolves of the Calla.
I loved Wolves of the Calla. It was really good.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Callahan? Is he real? Is he not? Maybe he's just on a different level of the tower.
I don't know what to think about him.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about this level of the tower thing. Like, it might matter.
Well, another thing...
This song plays on the level of that level of
another
the
thing
tower.
we have to keep in mind is that obviously people have the touch and people can go todash. So maybe there's people that have the touch that go todash. So maybe somebody saw his story but was also able to pull things from his memory that he had never talked about. I don't know.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I have some memories from the next few books that we read that are really unique and that you will not find in any other book that you ever read. And I remember thinking that very directly and very purposefully.
I'm excited for the last two.
We're on a weird ride, guys, and this is a fun weird ride. So let's just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Let's throw up the end of this to anything else you guys want to touch on before we close out.
I'm just gonna say that I do have one worry going forward.
Okay.
Because all of this like cross-world filtering over has built up some type of like, oh, these books are going to teach me the meaning of life. Like some type of huge thing that's going to come at the end, and I'm worried about being disappointed.
I'll tell you a secret. It's 19.
So that's a good one. Meaning of life. That's interesting. There might be meaning. I'm sure we'll dissect that for a long time.
Does anybody remember what number was the meaning of life in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
I can't remember.
Was that 19 also?
I'll say 42.
Oh, was it 42? That sounds more correct. All right.
What's up with Jake in 99 versus everyone else's 19?
Yeah.
That's
And then the password
I just assumed that the only reason was because that was the password.
The password was 1999. Both of those put together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this is
but
the
Jake
year
had the
that
touch, so he sensed it earlier.
Susanna is jumping to is 1999. So we may learn some more about it in the next book.
Oh, that's right.
So guys, the cool thing about us jumping to 1999 in the next book is that we get to revisit a part of our past. Not that we weren't in 77. Because I wasn't existent back then.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't. I'm not that old, guys.
However, we were getting really close, and some of us in 82 and 83, but not 81. But then now we get to go to fucking 1999, where we're thriving.
I keep thinking because I just like binge watched Black Mirror. So now I keep thinking I'm like, you know what? It's probably because Roland's gonna wake up and it's gonna be some like futuristic escape room, and that's all this whole story is.
God. I hope not.
Have any of you seen Black Mirror?
Yeah, I've seen
it's
that.
It's like all about like technology and stuff like that. So I'm just like,
I've seen that somewhere.
I'm like, that's all it is like all these puzzle pieces, and it's like some futuristic escape room.
Should be exciting, guys. With that, nothing else?
Nothing else.
Any other comments, Captain?
I'm
You
good.
That's it.
All right, man.
I mean, as much as I love when we have good series like this and not individual books, like when we were doing Stormlight Archive, as much as I love discussing it, the other thing that I love about Record Day is that it means I get to start the next one.
I know, me too.
I'm super excited to start the next one.
All right. Well, with that, we'll leave you, folks, and we will leave you in the hands of Ka. And
our devil wins.
Yeah.
Ka takes care of everything.
So we will be back in a little while talking Song of Susanna.
Song of Susanna.
And I'm excited about it. And this is where my memories really blur. I was actually earlier trying to figure out where my memories blur from this book to Song to Dark Tower. they're all blurred. So I'm super pumped to reread this.
Yeah.
There is a lot that I don't remember. And also, my perspective has changed greatly this second read through, which is really cool. So, with that, folks, we will see you soon. And though I need to get a refill, we'll have to, again,
well, cheers
we've been
and refill.
finishing these, folks. But cheers.
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 Nice.
Thanks again for joining us for this episode of Lit Literature. If you liked us, please check out our social media at Lit Literature 1 at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't hesitate to join in on the conversation. We appreciate the conversation, the questions, book recommendations, anything of that sort. Join in right on the social media websites. And don't forget to check us out at our website, litliterature.com, and our upcoming projects, though there aren't many now besides Lit Literature, you can find at lyket.net, Lyket. We do have a Patreon account, but if you truly want to support us, please like and share. Cheers.